Hi guys, how's it going? My name is Alexei, and today I'd like to introduce you to the crystal of time. And, well, here we go. Basically, from the book Your Influence in Space, we see that your body's light encompasses the entire universe in at least one relativistic frame of motion or another. And we also see that space needs to prepare itself before matter can manifest into existence. From the liquid light state universe, we see that along with space preparation comes conscious preparations. And that's the overlapping of your consciousness with the incoming space, which creates the nodes of matter. However, what does it mean to have constant space crunching and conscious crunching? Right? What could that imply? Could we not be missing a bigger picture? Do we not believe that the sun once orbited the Earth? So Your Influence in Space basically gives us a glance at the solution when it asks, what do two particles accelerating at the speed of light look like to each other if they're traveling in the same direction? Now, I don't mean traveling at the speed of light, I mean accelerating at the speed of light, and they're traveling in the same direction. One could imagine that they might appear as a solid particle frozen in space. And so, in the liquid light state universe, we describe spirit fields. And basically, we see that vibrational harmony alone may be the deciding factor for your solidification through reality. And so here we say, we go over the human body and how it's basically an easy user interface that allows our bodies to electromagnetically dance with the light state of the universe. It's our mind's spaceship that glues our bodies to our dimension of reality as we are in a state of constant manifestation. So, I'm going to talk about the human experience a little bit. And basically, humans have only been around for about 100,000 years, and the Earth 4.5 billion. So you can imagine that there's beings that have been around for about 18 billion years, and they could theoretically have more advanced senses than us. So here we're going to go now and actually, next section, perspectives grow with senses. So you can imagine the evolution of the beings on Earth as one being becoming more aware. And so what we see is that every sense that we gain is used to construct a bigger and bigger picture of reality. So what is it to be aware? And what is this thing we call consciousness? Right? And so let us be the most primitive being at this time. Let us sit quiet, be still. Imagine we're the single-celled organism becoming more aware as a human. So now let's be this most primitive being that we can imagine, completely senseless. We would think reality didn't even exist. So now let's scale this up in an educated fashion. And let's compare the range of senses and physical distance and the medians that we're attuned to with the greater picture involved as far as understanding our place in reality. So after being completely senseless, you could say that the next most primitive sense would be that of feel. And so what does feel give us? Feel gives us, in the easiest sense, wall or no wall, right? There's either a wall or there is no wall. So let's continue to scale this up. Our distance is 0, and we just know there's wall. Now, in the next sense that we gained was basically taste or smell. It's our ability to detect which molecules we're touching. And so that gives us taste good or smells good, tastes bad, smells bad, right? And so you could say we have wall, no wall, tastes good, tastes bad. And again, taste doesn't really give us an indication of distance. It just gives us an indication of solidification. So, what am I getting at here? Basically, the sense of taste my distance as far as perception is zero, right? I don't have any awareness yet. I just still have a distance of zero. The next sense that we get would be sound. And sound is also very similar to feeling, but it's a very heightened sense of feeling. And what you get with sound is you would get Doppler shifts. And so you would get that effect of like a vehicle traveling by you, like short waves, compressed waves coming towards you, expanded waves coming away from you. And your mental construct has now grown. What you would see is that you would get a picture. You would get objects moving. And then you would also have taste good, taste bad. There's wall, no wall, objects moving, right? And at that point in time, if you were to consider what you would think would be the fastest source of information exchange or travel, it would be directly related to the speed of sound, because we wouldn't know that light exists. So then, the next sense that we gain as human, right, is our sense of sight. And what that gives us basically, so we say here that our awareness has now shifted to encompass the entire universe with our sense of sight, or at least the smooth cosmic microwave background. And our environment to grow has increased to the entire known universe, or rather, limitations of aided visual perception. So to say that is all, and to say that the speed of light is a maximum speed, would not be to understand how our senses have been developing. We're all one awareness coming from a more primitive single cell. In a fashion, we are one being becoming more aware. So when you think about our sense in time, it gives us another structure that we're around, right? You could say that our sense of touch and taste all gave us the structure of Earth. Our sense of sight gave us the structure of the sun, or the solar system, or the universe. And you could say now that our sense of time gives us the sense of a structure again, that of a clock, or the crystal of time, is what we're calling it here. And so, either way, one thing is for certain, we do see and experience time. We are in time, just like the universe, just like the solar system, just like the planet Earth. We are in or on time. We revolve around the center of time. The flowing nature of past, present, and future may be a limitation to our perception and cognitive ability. And so, here we now will explore the universe, or existence rather, as if we are orbiting the crystal of time, or through the crystal of time. And so, one reason why we say that we're orbiting is because in order to get that constant manifestation of matter, you need to be accelerating at the speed of light. And there's only two ways to have constant acceleration. And one would be to have a constant force from behind you. And another would be to be in a constant acceleration towards the center, like orbiting an object. And so what we're saying here is that we're orbiting the center of time. And so what would be, so let me just move forward. This is, now let's see what questions we can answer, right? This is, with every new sense of awareness comes a new sense to question and our new realm to explore. With our new model, the crystal of time, let us see if we can answer some of the questions associated with the Big Bang Theory. And so, basically here we're just saying that, to keep it really simple, the Big Bang was the moment when our universe collided with the crystal of time. And at that initial moment, our science argues that particles did not exist. Here we're saying that time existed before the universe entered. And so now let's look at the universe that's on a collision course with time. Right? The very first event would be that it would collide with the barrier of the crystal. We're going to call that the moment of the Big Bang. So here you can just see, basically, a universe colliding with time. And immediately after the Big Bang, you could say that the universe was either too hot for the particles to solidify or that it was too cold, right? It was in a state of subatomic lava where we didn't even have particles. And so now we go into the next section called subatomic Goldilocks, right? And so the Goldilocks Paradox is very simply, basically, for the Earth, you could say that there's no life currently on Venus because it's too hot. There's no life on Mars because it's too cold for water to be in solid, liquid, and gas. And on Earth, it's just right. And so it's that perfect temperature to enjoy the soup, right? And so there's the subatomic Goldilocks paradox that also occurs within the crystal of time as, you could say, matter manifests or universe solidifies into being a habitable experience. So we call that the habitable zone of the universe within time. Okay? And so just keeping it simple for now. And so you can say, what would be the boundary distance? So the habitable zone for Earth in our solar system right now is where water is solid, liquid, and gas on a planet. The habitable zone for a universe around the center of time would be one where a conscious being would be able to perceive reality. And for the human body, the consciousness is able to perceive reality when accelerating at the speed of light. And so it gives us the habitable zones around the center of time, where humans are able to perceive manifesting reality. You could say that the soup is just that right temperature for reality and manifested existence to be here. So that's pretty cool, right? But what's interesting about that too is that you could also say that, let's call our distance from center one manifest. Distance from Earth to Sun is one astronomical unit. So distance from universe to center of time would be one manifestation unit, right? And you could say that there would be manifestation planets or whatever orbiting at those manifestation unit distances away from the center of time, and that would be based off of the natural wave nature of basically just how waves add and subtract. And so what you see is event distance from center. You have a single event would be this line, and as the universe orbits through it, there's different habitable zones going through the same event. And so you could say that that's multiple timelines or multiple dimensions. We get into the dimensions in the book Time Atom. For the purposes of this book, we're going to say just timeline. And, well, as anything orbits, what you notice is that if you go slower, you need to be closer. If you go faster, you need to be further away. And so basically, you get a spiral of perception as the universe expands and slows down in its orbit. You get a spiral of perception of habitability within time. And so, for the sake of discussing here, we're going to assume constant velocity though, right? And we're going to talk about events and field densities as they change from distance from center of time. And so here you can see an event being played out in time, right? And basically, as the event gets further and further away from the center, you see that the field lines, the density becomes less, right? And so you could consider that the richness of your experience, or how much of manifesting matter you're able to actually experience based off on that orbital distance. And that orbital distance is based off your light-state harmony, right? So then we go into here, event So here we have a drawing. Event field density changes with distance on the top. And that, so to, we're just talking about the crystal of time model here. And so let's try to see what dark matter could be potentially. And our current models say dark matter exists within the universe. We're saying dark matter exists within time. And that as the universe orbits the center of time, it's basically colliding into a dark matter web. You could say the cardiovascular system of time. And it's almost like bouncing off of it, right? And so manifesting matter bumps into and flows around dark matter. Dark matter is part of the raw crystalline structure of time itself. So it's just a different way to think about it, to where dark matter exists already and our universe is colliding into it. And so what you can see though is in different times, what you would have is different dark matter disturbances, because it's not uniform. It's almost like crystalline veins in a mountain, or the cardiovascular system, or a highway road system. It's a web. It's a dark matter web that exists. And so if you were to look at the dark matter throughout the center of time, you could see that the thing that's really different between the different events would be dark matter density. So you could say dark matter density varies along the different event lines. And so that would be one of the major differences associated with dark matter there. And so to continue to explain some of the riddles and mysteries of our universe, you could say that the expansion of the universe could potentially be caused by a drag between the fluid of time, this area right here, and the universe itself, the boundary condition, because objects at the boundary condition want to strive towards the same velocity. And so you would have the natural rotational flow of the time fluid, and then you would also have a universe entering, wanting to have the boundary condition be the same. And so you could just think of it as that. Motion of balance is caused by the degree of imbalance. And so that would cause the expansion of the universe. And to relate this to the liquid light state universe, we talk about here conscious preparation, space crunching, and shell jumping is a technique explored here. And basically, we see how conscious experience is guided by spirit potential, and how it may travel from one habitable zone of experience into another. And so we basically ended up writing a whole book on that called Time Atom, but it introduces the magic sphere again, as well as the magic square, which are very important for this. And then you could say, we talk about the conscious preparations and spirit harmony relation. And then just theoretically, we talk about the nature of the universe inside the fluid of time. Like, is the universe sticky to itself? Is the universe very fluid? And so here we say basically that the universes are magnetically charged as they orbit the center of time. Very similar to an electron orbiting the nucleus of an atom. You could say universes orbit the center of time. And so what we also say here then, so you can have a universe exit time, just like you have universes enter time. And one of the bigger questions that comes from this is consciousness then native to time, or is it native to the universe? And what we would see here is that the consciousness that exists within time is most likely native to time, native to time itself and not the universe. And as the universe has been inside time longer, the consciousness has become more aware of what's inside of it. So that's just something to think about. And to go back to the wall, no wall metaphor that we had earlier in the book, basically we say that now our most advanced sense would be our sense of love. and love equals no wall. No, yeah, there you go. And no love would equal wall. And so you could say spirit potential is 100% related to love, no love. So I hope that makes some sense, and thanks for listening. Have a great day.